Welcome, everyone. This is Piney Noodles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Harry Adwin.
Hi!
And Sanswinda.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. And we will head on right into the beacon, where it looks like we have some celebrants on the front.
Yeah, they look celebratory.
Yeah. We need a few cheers in there to add to it, though.
Maybe a few cheers, maybe some food on the picnic tables. There's picnic tables, they could clearly have a picnic, but I don't see any provisions.
Well, that's probably why they're so sullen, maybe.
Maybe they're waiting for the person and the horse or pony with the provisions to arrive.
Aha! I hope they weren't trying to rent Penny with everybody using her lately.
Are those relatives?
Maybe.
I do believe that that's a bingo-related picture.
Yeah, some of those do look a little familiar. I guess we'll find out what that's all about in the near future. But let's head into the community spotlight, where Druid's Fire wrote an interview that she had with executive producer Severlin at Gen Con last week. So you could read up all about it and their little teases for what is coming up ahead in LOTRO.
Dragons!
Well, yeah.
And a 64-bit client.
Yeah, they are working on that, and apparently the engineer that was working on it is finally back on that job, and hopefully we'll get enough time in which to actually finish it at some point in the near future. And,
that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, and hopefully they'll take care of the crashes, assuming it's something memory-related that we get. Then Fibro Jedi continues his fan fiction with Beyond the Brandywine. And Star Shadow is a blog that documents the adventures of Eldario in LOTRO. And our kin haul for this week. The House of Lords is an EU primetime rating and social kin on Arkenstone. We are mostly active between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Central European Time, which is 2 and 5 p.m. server time. They run all T2C content on a stress-free... How do you have T2C content in a stress-free atmosphere?
Don't
Have
judge.
fun.
Okay, just wondering.
You just need a really good tank.
And probably a good healer. And some good DPS.
Probably some really good healers.
And
they run.
Maybe it just means that they don't get mad and yell at each other when things go wrong. Because things go wrong when you T2 raid. It happens.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. They run all T2C content in a stress-free atmosphere, giving the possibility to learn and improve. They are currently focusing on the Abyss of Mordath raid. They offer advice and training for their members. Their leadership has a vast knowledge of all classes, mechanics, and the game. They do PvP and run social events for kin members. They're looking for adult members who are interested in running the new raid and participate in the social life of the kin. All classes are welcome to apply. You can apply through their website or contact Elohar and Asfrelel in game. This is interesting that it's on Arkenstone.
Yeah.
I would have thought that it would have been on Laurelin or Evernight. But yes, this is a Europe-based server that is on Arkenstone. So 2 to 5 server time. So therefore, if you're either in Central Europe or you have odd hours that make you available during that time of day, and you like T2C content. That's right. That third one is pretty important there, I guess, for being in that kin. Or at least desiring to learn it or something like that. So let's go into our weekly comment. And what is your most favorite zone in the game?
Western Gondor. And Olive Rohan.
Rohan is pretty
Dunland.
awesome.
I mean, I have
think-
favorites for different reasons because I like Dunland for cosmetics, obviously.
Right.
Rohan is just gorgeous, and then Western Gondor is pretty, and the story is fantastic.
Well, I kind of like Forkel and Wildermore for their beauty as well. But Rohan has the beauty and the epic music, which is a great combination. And War Steeds. And I love War Steeds because they go fast. And I wish I could go fast even before I can get a War Steed, technically.
Sans really wants a level 10 War Steed.
Level 5. Maybe level 1.
Sorry.
Level 1 would be even better. But
you can't even have a horse at level 1.
Well, I know. So I would settle for level 5. But it would be pretty awesome. Like, straight out of the intro, you could get on your war steed, and you could ride recklessly around places while you got your learner's permit, I guess, for riding, and then when you graduate to Rohan, then you could fight from the back of your war steed. I like this idea.
Okay, this will be a bit on the crazy side, I guess, because I remember back in the game when I think you had to be level 30 before you were allowed to ride a mount.
I know. And I'm sure that it would cause all sorts of havoc if everybody was on war steeds from level 5. But it would be pretty awesome. But, like, actual place that I would want to visit or maybe live would probably be, like, the Shire or Rohan.
All right.
Yeah, I still want Rohan housing.
You still want Rohan
That would
housing.
be awesome.
That's not a bank vault.
Right.
That's
Rohan housing that fits with the housing that you see in Rohan.
or
In the cities and places.
that house that you
Or the house that you can potentially acquire during part of the storyline.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, somebody can just spruce that up and let us have that.
Right, because we went through all the trouble getting the deed for it.
That's right.
And that means that you're allowed to purchase the house or whatever the in-game function is to it after completing the quest on at least one of your characters. As for me, I guess you can guess. And that would be Southern Mirkwood. You can guess the reason.
Oh, because of the skirmishes.
I thought it was because he loved the spiders so much.
There's a drawback to every area.
Fair.
Yes. Let's head into our fan site news then. The Adventures After Dark we had Adventures in After Dark with Big Ed Mustafa. And you could watch Gussie Moose level on her Runekeeper. And you could watch Positively Evil complete the new Stolen Sweets quest. And you could watch Andain continue on his adventures through Mordor in part 65 of The Fate of the Stone Maiden. And Louis 7 started a new adventure in the Trolshaws in episode 39 of their series. And you'd watch Gamolio Dan in part 126 of his Let's Play series. As for the screenshot of the week, it looks like someone...
That's a fantastic shot.
That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Perfect timing.
Somebody
there.
obviously knew that was coming, so that's not a first playthrough.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't know it was coming when that moment happened, so I was not in position to take any kind of screenshots. So that's definitely, that moment's coming and you get your camera ready.
That's what...
And you spam the heck out of that print screen key.
That's what the pool is for.
Yeah, the reflecting pool.
Yeah, it's possible that this is someone who didn't need it for the quest at that time, was at their leisure to play games with it or whatever. Yeah, the reflecting pool.
That is a really great shot, though.
It captures the epic feeling of the moment very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Fire and eagle and light, yes. Then, let's see. And just note that the Summer Festival is back for an encore right now. So that is now on through August 19th. So therefore, so if you want more stuff from the picnic vendor, I know you don't do picnics, at least not on Terry. And you don't do.
I have other alts to do the festival. I've got plenty of other alts.
Very well. Let's then head into what's on sale this week. And Terry, Edwin, anything good on sale?
No, not really.
No.
The weekly coupon gets you an enhanced XP supply ×1 with coupon code XP Boost. So if you're not already at level 115, or if you just want something to help you through when it goes up to 120, cash in that. And then our store sales are 20% off keys, legacy tier upgrade, legendary item stat upgrade, and universal solvent. So not really anything good. Nothing I would buy.
Then let's head into our site news where Squirrely has continued with his series on 99 instances where he is discussing the skirmishes of Bree and the Rangers. And there he talks about, first off, the Thievery and Mischief. Actually, he first talks about the intro version of it before talking about the main version of it, since he's saying going in there at level 20 and not being familiar with skirmishes. So obviously that means that he's talking about the tutorial version, since you go through a small version then, and then the full version, you get all... It's significantly longer, yes. So therefore he talks about that one, then about the Defense of the Prancing Pony. Once again, he starts talking about he seems to be doing a little bit of a mix between the intro version and the real version in this one. He's talking about the gloves coming off and stuff like that. And based on party size and all that stuff. And obviously the party size doesn't matter until you're doing the official version. But you do it as an intro first to learn about defensive skirmishes, and then at level 35 you can do the full version.
You have to be level 35 to do the full version? You don't get it after doing the tutorial?
No, Thievery and Mischief unlocks at 30, Defense of the Prancing Pony at 35.
Interesting.
Yep, because at level 20, the ones that you get are Goneman, Tuckborough, and Storm on Methodress.
Storm on Methodress seems like an interesting choice to have open at level 20.
Well, that was... When they first were preparing that one, they were originally planning to have it open up. I think it was something like level 70 was the original plan. And at the last moment, the developers changed their mind, I think, on what they wanted to do with it, because they figured they would have trouble getting people to buy the skirmish if the level were too high.
Probably true.
So I think that's the entire reason why they decided. I think they might have gone down a little bit too much on the... You start at 70 down to 20, especially since story-wise, you don't encounter that story until
Quite a bit later, yeah.
quite a bit later, because you do that story around level. You do the first part of it around 62 or 63, maybe if you do N and Y at level instead of being a little bit over level like I'm always. And then, of course, the second thing that relates to the Old Woman of the Mountain, you do around level 70 in Dunland.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there are some people who are wondering about these monsters that they never see again for 50 more levels.
Though it's helpful if you've got like an enmity of the Hillmen or something. At least I think that was what advanced there. I might be wrong. It might have been wolves.
What? Well, in Storm of Mithridus, you only face one person who qualifies for enmity of the Hillmen, and that's Gwillian.
Maybe I ran it a bunch of times, and that's how it helped. I don't know. I just seem to remember it helping or popping the deed or something.
Yeah, it'll pop the deed there, but when you kill Gwillian, it's possible that there might be a lieutenant that qualifies, but none of them pop to my mind. And Gwillian is the one that very definitely works on that. And then also discusses the Weathertop one, Standard Almond Sul, and Survival Barrel Downs, which is the deed glut skirmish, because all the deeds that are associated with Survival Barrel Downs and there's one for, okay, you should do this at Small Fellowship. Then, of course, they got a version of all the deeds for Full Fellowship and a version of all the deeds for Raid. And one of these is, how long can you survive? Meaning, survive, so you get a tick-off mark off for surviving 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and 30 minutes. The last one ends at 30 minutes. Then there is, how long can you survive without killing any lieutenants?
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's one of the D's that's in there. It's killing large numbers of mobs in a single one, and they also have ones for killing total in all there. And they have one which is probably easier today to do, and that is going through the entire thing without any fellowship maneuvers, which is probably more likely to do today than when they first put it out. Because
without accomplishing a fellowship maneuver or without triggering a fellowship maneuver?
I think it would have to be accomplishing one, because triggering one is that could happen just by accident. And that'd be rather difficult to go through a half hour with and never triggering one at all.
True. Very true.
I would have to read the exact wording of the text, but so therefore I would say that the number one reason someone will probably use a fellowship maneuver in Survival Barrel Downs would be to either heal or to gain power, depending on what lieutenants you've been facing.
That would make sense.
But there is a deed for seeing how long you go without using any fellowship maneuvers. I think that might be simple skill for that one. So there are. Next, I should introduce you to Survival Barrel Downs or something. Have you ever done that one?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I actually made it to the full 30 minutes once at one, I think it was 1:15. But I was on my Runekeeper and I was lagged out for most of the time.
Yeah, that can happen.
Apparently, every time I got a moment off of lag, I cast a healing something, and so everybody thought I was still doing what I was supposed to be doing. But yeah, I was totally lagged out the whole time.
Yeah. Right, so you get the idea on that. So those are the four he talks about, are the three in Breedland and the one in the Lone Lands. And when he first said that the title was Skirmishes of Bree and Rangers, I had thought that Attack at Dawn was also going to be one of the ones that he would go into, since that also involves Rangers, but I guess that's in a different category. So therefore, let's head into our new player week. And what's your question this week?
Well, this week I was wondering if anybody knows when store sales start. I know Thursday, but I also know keys were not on sale on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. server time. So
Now, it's sometime in the afternoon on Thursdays, whenever they post the beacon, which is usually afternoon sometime.
okay,
Yeah.
so it's just sometime Thursday afternoon. Nobody actually knows when. It depends.
I don't know if there is an actual set time. It's kind of when they get to it.
Okay. So
If there is a set time, they've never really posted, because technically it usually says that it starts on Friday, but they actually start on Thursday when they post the sales.
okay. I guess that makes sense. I mean, the sales are usually up when I'm playing on Thursday, but I guess sometimes I don't start playing until we meet for our Thursday night group, so.
Okay.
So that was my question. I was just curious, because I was kind of bummed when I found out that keys were on sale that night, and I had waited till Thursday before doing anything. That was all.
Oh, yeah, always wait later in the day, because it's usually going to happen sometime in the afternoon. I
That makes
usually
sense.
notice a changeover around 3 o'clock server time.
Okay, so wait till closer to 3 or 4. Good to know. Thanks.
All right, then let's head into our week in Lotro. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, my Gladden Mini led the way for his Brother the Champion's level 15 class quests, along with some other quests in Saddle. So this is the trio of brothers that Sands and Cinders and I are playing on Gladden. I'm playing a Minstrel, but Cinders is playing a Champion, and I know the level 15 I know all of the champion quests, but I especially know the level 15 champion quests, because all of my champions, and I think I've got something like 14 of them now, they've all made it at least to level 15. So I've done it at least 14 times now. And then some, because I've done it with other people. So yeah, I know where all of the things are. And then we did some other quests in Staddle, including the fellowship quest that really shouldn't be a fellowship quest anymore, and the solo quest that really probably should be. And then I stopped in Andang's stream on Wednesday night, so I should probably mention I haven't talked to Andang in ages. Everybody hears me talk about how I don't watch YouTube. I don't typically watch YouTube because YouTube's a rabbit hole that I prefer not to fall down. Because I will do nothing else but watch YouTube videos for like hours and get nothing accomplished. So I typically don't watch YouTube, but I happened to see he'd been streaming something other than Lotro, and I happened to see that his stream for the evening was going to be Lotro, and I got back to my computer just after the stream went live, and I was like, oh, I'll check in and see how Andang's doing. And yeah, I felt sorry for him because he was running around Mordor trying to get pages in areas that he hadn't been to yet, because some of them were really difficult. So he's having kind of a hard time getting his pages. And after about the third time I saw him die on stream in the same 15 minutes, I decided to log in and help. And that resulted in I got talked into running Dungeons of Nerebands to get the book for Dungeons of Nerebands. And this is the instance that I did in beta and swore I would never do it because I hated it so much. And yeah, I still hate that instance. And I have the book now, and I don't ever have to do it again because I really hate that instance. Everything I hated about it in beta is still a thing, so I still really hate that instance. the whole floor is on fire mechanic just does nothing for me whatsoever. Although I am proud to say that I'm less squishy than Andang, so there's that. The nice thing about playing with Andang is I always feel better about myself as a champion.
Ooh.
Sorry, Andang. I know he listens. He was telling me he's behind on the show, so it'll be a little while before he gets to this episode. But I know he is still listening. And then because I had gotten the books and completed at least one of the other deeds that I had outstanding, I had an allegiance thingy drop, so I completed a couple more levels of my dwarf allegiance. So I did chapter 4 of the dwarf allegiance on Terry, which is you go into Mordor looking for the other dwarves that were supposed to be in Mordor that apparently have not reported back because they, I don't know, got lost or something. So yeah, that was lots of fun because I love going back to Mordor. I really love going back to Mordor. Except it actually wasn't too bad because Lost Dwarves. It's not my first time looking for Lost Dwarves, you know? Didn't have too much trouble locating the Lost Dwarves, and we'll probably be making another trip into Mordor for my next chapter, but I don't know yet. Because I'm level 16 of the Dwarf Allegiance, so I've still got a ways to go. But I'm still really loving the Dwarf Allegiance. And every time I do a chapter, it makes me super excited to see what's coming for Grey Mountains and Iron Hills and more dwarf stuff. Yay! So, Sans Window, what were you up to this week?
Well, this was like the week of the mini for me. I finally topped off my minis healing LIs. Well, I haven't quite topped off the Amphilis Starlit. I haven't come anywhere close to topping off the Amphilis Starlit crystals on the sword. But I wasn't intending for these to do damage, so I didn't really care about that, and I topped off the book and all of the Amphilis Scrolls of Empowerment and the LI XP for it, and it was a grind, as all of you know. Probably. But it got done, and I was proud of it, and then I took her deeding, and made a new friend while deeding in the Paths of the Dead. I was kind of zoned out by that point. It was the last place that I was deeding, and it was the last thing I needed to get the last of her virtues to 20 that I was using. And I'm just going along, and I hear this little ping. I was like, what? And there was somebody who was like, please leave some for me. I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I was totally spacing out deeding. And so we worked together and both finished up the deed. And, just chatted while we were doing it. And it was more fun with company. And then I got to put the new LIs and virtues to the test by healing the Abyss of Mordath raid for the first time. So that was a new way to experience it, and not only did I heal it for the first time, I streamed it for the first time. So, anybody who watches the Signum U Abyss of Mordath stream will see my first attempts at healing a raid and streaming it. So, I don't know how the stream turned out, honestly, but I think it was probably okay.
Well, the beginning was a bit shaky, wasn't it? Because there were technical issues.
Well, after that, on Thursday night, we ran it 2 nights in a row. Thursday night, the ritualist anti-exploited. They climbed a wall and was anti-exploited, and we couldn't finish clearing that group of mobs to open the gate to the first boss without killing that ritualist who was anti-exploited at the top of the wall, basically.
So annoying. I have no idea.
So annoying. I don't think it's possible for her to have gotten up there, and yet there she was.
Yeah.
And
it was
none of us could get to her. And she kept creating ghosts, but that was like all she did.
And they were all stuck up there too.
They were all stuck up there too. They couldn't get down to fight us. And then they were all anti-exploited, and it was bad. We tried everything we could think of, including staying dead for 10 minutes to see if that would reset it. And it reset it, but it reset her in place on the wall instead of down where we could actually get to her. So she immediately anti-exploited again on seeing us. So while that was going on, I decided to try to turn my graphics up to ultra high to show everybody the awesomeness of the graphics, and totally lagged out the stream. So Thursday nights is in several parts as I tried to work out the graphics issue to get OBS to cooperate to stream again. So I don't think any of the ultra high detail actually made it to OBS, unfortunately, or to the Twitch stream, therefore. But I think Friday night went pretty well stream-wise. At least I wasn't seeing any complaints from chat. So
Friday looked really smooth.
Good. So it's from the healer's perspective, but it worked, and we got through all 3 bosses, and there was much death and destruction, and I healed it for the first time. So finally, and then I dreamed of morale bars and wounds and swore off all light armor classes today, almost. I got talked into playing a lore master for a little bit, but I let my pet do most of the work. I was like, I am so not helping, so not healing, so trying not to get hit by anything while being in a light armor class. But yeah, that was my week. Pineleaf, how was your week?
All right. We'll begin with my lore master, who entered into Dunland, and I entered into the Bone Veils route.
Ooh.
And my lore master was level 67 at the time, so I just decided, no, I'm not going to be doing any side quests here because I'm already around level to do Galtreb stuff. So I just did the epic through the Bone Veils and pretty much skipped most of the Bone Veils, and then went into Galtrev, where you do the usual stuff in Galtrev, where you try to trace what's going on with the shipments and all that weird stuff. So that's about where I am right now. Is I've helped the people there who are being overworked, and now I guess get along to the serious work of sabotaging the half-orcs and all that fun stuff. So I will actually be doing the quest in Galtrev, unlike the first couple of hubs where I didn't do anything yet. Then on today, I brushed off my Guardian that I hadn't played in a while. My Guardian is level 106. I think the last time that character was as an escort character for Ur at an episode of The Girls or something like that, where we're trying to escort Lobies into Barad-dûr.
Yeah, that went so well.
We got one all the way in. At level 40.
We did.
Cinders, in fact.
Yep.
Okay, so we got Cinders in, and so that's what so that character then had an opportunity in which to play. I was at the start of this level 106, and Sanswinda and Cinders had 105 Ariads. So what we decided to...
It might happen to be a light armor class, which is how I got talked into playing a lore master for a little bit.
Right. So therefore we went to the Host of the West, where I had only done the epic there on my Guardian, and the reason why I did the epic was so that I could get into Mordor on that character. But I didn't do any of the side quests, so therefore we're doing the side quest plus getting them caught up onto the epic, and we got through for the first main hub, and then we're a few things then at the town, at the haunted town where you got in there, and now we're at those ruins where you've got all those where you... Well, let me see. Mitchum is the last one who gave us a quest in there, who's going to be sending us into that.
Underhurst Folly, right?
Yeah, Underhurst Folly. That's the name of the place. I always had trouble remembering that name. So therefore we did that. And then on Thursday and Friday, I went through my first run through the Abyss of Mordath. Sanswinda already told you much about what happened in there. On the Thursday, we were hoping to at least get through by one of the bosses so that we could shorten the second day's run. Unfortunately, anti-exploited, and she refused to budge, as Sanswinda said. And unfortunately, apparently the GM was busy on some other emergency or whatever, so therefore wasn't available to help us on the matter. So, with that, we had to redo the whole thing on Saturday. And I didn't say if we couldn't get past one boss on Thursday, I was like, how in the world were we going to get past, say, all the bosses on Friday night? But we had a nice, efficient leader in there who got us through everything. But as it was going on, I was getting frustrated with melee. So therefore, I ran, I would say, the middle third of it. I tended to stay in assailant stance, but I was spec'd for melee. So obviously that was hurting my DPS a bit. Now, there was this fight where you had to do corruption removal. Unfortunately, corruption removal isn't affected by that situation, so I was still able to remove the corruptions without any too much trouble in there, but I was doing less DPS than I could. But I was using my javelins for debuffing constantly on there, so the debuffs that I could place on the opponent through throwing the javelin at least was enforced all the way through there. Then, when we're getting near the end, when we had a little bit of a break, I just decided, all right, I am just tired of playing this character in melee because whenever I feel like playing melee, I wind up playing in blue line anyway. So I just decided to trait out red line. And at first I decided, how much does it cost to add a third spec? That much. Mithril. Yeah, 100 mithril. When I saw that, I said, maybe if I ever get a mithril coin bonus in a Hobbit present or something like that, I may consider that. But I decided instead that I would just spend the gold and a half it takes to clear out a spec, and I just redid the whole thing to yellow. It was a long enough break where I went to the break with pretty much a full red line, and I came out of that break with a full yellow line. So I did the final boss in yellow. And I think because I don't think I could have done that in melee, even if we were all tightly put together. But when we were being chased by the ads and we're going after them for a little while, then I was glad to have the javelin stance at full power in there and being able to use my abilities to their fullest. And I managed to get through that raid. I think that was it might be the first time I did what I would call the mainline raid, meaning the most recent raid that's currently available. This is the first time I could think of doing that one. At the time it's at full level. Now, we did not do it at tier. We did it only at tier 1, and based on my experience, I'm not too sure I'd ever want to do it above tier 1. It was a lore run, not a let's get serious best gear in the game type run. And yes, the people who have the dedication to do that so that they could beat T2 challenge, I must say they have a lot of dedication in working in order to get that done, because for me, it was tiring just to do it at tier 1. And someone suggested, maybe we should go in some other time in order to try to get the rest of the pages. And I'm sick. What? No, I don't need that book. I don't need that book.
But
I'll listen to Terry's book.
Really?
What?
But you get the bookcase.
No, I won't get the bookcase because there's no way in the world I'm going to go into that other instance.
Oh, the
Airband?
Airband one?
Yeah, I'm not going in an airband.
Yeah.
We just need to stream it and have Terry drop in and take pity on you. And
Oh my god. Actually, that instance probably wouldn't be so bad. Because honestly, we didn't have too much trouble until we got to the final part. Because the final boss fight for an airband, you really need more than 2 people. Just because of some of the mechanics require extra people. Because once we filled up the group, we didn't have any trouble whatsoever, really. And you're geared for tier 1 Abyss now, so you can totally take on Airband.
yeah,
It'll turn out better than when Andang ran through it.
I think so.
But we'll wait until I get a character who actually needs the book again, because the next time I go through it, I'm going to go with somebody who needs the deed.
Yeah, because I could see that you don't exactly enjoy that one.
I hate that so much.
And in fact, your descriptions of it is the reason why I was saying it's unlikely I'll ever go into it.
The bottom floor is on fire.
Yeah,
Well-
that doesn't sound like one of my favorite. Because that's when I have my greatest trouble, is when we have things to do with floors. Like last night, how many times did I get killed because of puddles?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That killed me more than anything else in that entire thing, because I still had trouble
Yeah, those
getting
puddles
into
are
that.
nasty.
I hate puddles.
And the whole lower level of Airband is a puddle with
Is one
Yeah, extra
Some
puddles.
of the puddles are worse than others, but yeah, the entire floor is puddled. I mean, there is no you stand in a spot to not be damaged. No, because the whole floor is damaged. Just some spots are worse than others.
It's just some spots are worse than others.
It's true. It's terrible.
You're not exactly selling me on this.
I know.
She's not trying to either. Anymore.
I'm really not. But honestly, no, I'm trying to sell you on doing the raid again. Because I really think it's worth getting that book. Just because I think that book is awesome. Also, I actually, compared to Airband, I really don't mind the raid. I mean, the raid is
can take longer.
The raid is a walk in the park compared to running Airband. I'm sorry, but I hate that raid. Or I hate that stupid dungeon. But I did want to talk to you a little bit about the raid because how long has it been since you've actually done a raid at all?
Well, first of all, if you mean by raid a specially made raid as opposed to skirmish raids.
Yes, an actual raid, not a skirmish raid.
All right. I just want to make sure to do that because as for the last one of those that I've done.
Like, have you done anything like that since we stopped doing adventures?
The last raid I remember doing would have had to have been that Dragok raid. And that was we were over leveled anyway, so that one might not count.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Corey Dragok raid is the last raid, and I think I think I went in with Pine Song. So I might not have been massively over leveled. I might have been only slightly over leveled. As the last.
Are you telling me you have not run Throne of Dread Terror, Pineleaf?
I'm pretty sure Pineleaf has not run the Throne raid.
Yeah, that could be fun.
I've never finished Throne of Dread Terror.
Yeah, I've never done Throne, and I think the last one I remember before that would have been one of the Moria ones, and that would have been when level cap was around 75, I think. Oh, I have done, let's see, well, I might have done Turtle since then, but Turtle is hard to call a raid.
Turtle's kind of a walk in the park.
Right.
Even on level, Turtle's not that bad. Turtle's easy.
And
it's the Watcher that's a pain.
Oh yeah, I've never finished the Watcher. I usually die quickly in that one. And it's been a while since I've attempted that one. And I did the Rift once, and that was, I believe, the level cap then was 65.
Well, you did the Rift with Adventures too. But I don't know if we can count any of those really because
I didn't count that one because that was
because that's not like any kind of serious content running because that was pretty haphazard the way that was organized. I mean, comparatively speaking, last night's run was quite a bit different from what we were doing when we did Adventures.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, the Adventures one was, I think a lot of people were over leveled and stuff like that.
By the time we got to those instances, yeah.
Yeah. But the time I did it before, as I said, I think the level cap was around 65, and it was, I think, of course, the Rift is a level 50 raid, but there were a different combat system back then, so therefore it was still brutal against level 65 characters. So yeah. So, and if I remember correctly, we could not get the Balrog to activate. So therefore, after about 4 hours, it was getting to be about 3 or 4 a.m. when we had to quit. So that was that.
Finally,
I think we waited 2 hours before we started.
3 or 4 a.m. At 3 or 4 a.m.
It was not my intention to be so, but that's how long that's the rate. That's how long, because we were supposed to start at 8 p.m. We did not have enough people to actually get started for 1 or 2 hours it took us in order to get the full group together, because I think we only had about 8 when we met at around 8. And so we thought, it should be quickly no.
Well, the Rift takes ages too. That's just a long
and then the Rift took, right, and then of course the raid itself takes ages to do, so it was around 3 a.m. by the time we all quit and said, oh, sorry, there's no way we're going to finish this. So that was a pain.
Makes
going
sense.
through all.
So, I mean, leaving Thursday night out, because obviously what happened on Thursday was a little bit of an anomaly with the ritualist bugging out. What happened last night is more typical of what the kind of raid experience that I've had running with Ploy.
Okay.
Where you've got a raid leader who knows the fight, who is pretty good at keeping everybody on task. And let's face it, we were pretty hard to keep on task. A couple of points. I know I got yelled at least once for derailing the chat. Which doesn't happen very often, but we were on a time crunch at that point.
To be fair to Krister, we were on task on Thursday night. We were even making pretty good time. We ran into a ridiculous situation.
Thursday was not really anybody's fault.
Yeah, that was not anything on the difference in raid leaders there.
Because Krister was doing a very similar job on Thursday. It's just Thursday we had a mob not be cooperating.
Yeah, actually, yeah, there is a.
Just a second, Pineleaf. Pineleaf, you're cutting out majorly. Sorry. Can you start that sentence over? You're still really cutting out. The sounds are kind of funny, Pineleaf, but I can't tell what you're saying. I'm sorry. I still can't understand you. It sounds kind of like guitar strings or a robot voice that's not quite working.
Well,
it might have been on my internet's end.
Terry, what did you
There, that
hear during that
works.
conversation?
I heard a lot of twanging
On both sides?
on both sides. I actually thought it was me, but it might have just been Discord breaking for a minute.
It might have been Discord breaking for a minute because my voice connected cycled through all the different colors, and now I can hear you guys again.
Okay, so therefore, where were we before we were rudely interrupted?
I was trying to give a shout out to Yoke.
Oh yeah, giving a
And
shout
then
out.
Sans was talking about something else about Krister leading.
Right, because we had 2 great leaders 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, so shout out to Krister, shout out to Yoke. You guys were awesome. We definitely would have cleared the first boss had that ritualist not gotten in our way, or unfortunately out of our way. That's the case.
So
maybe.
far out of
Yeah.
our way that we couldn't do
So far
anything.
out of our way that we couldn't have. We definitely would have cleared the first boss. We probably could have cleared the second boss on Thursday, had things not gone weird. But yeah, we managed to get through all 3
Yeah.
in 3 hours and 45 minutes, which honestly for us isn't that bad.
All right. Now, one of the things I have noticed is sometimes in an instance, a mob will change its reset point. And so I think that's what happened, is that she not only moved to a bad place, she also somehow managed to
Decided that was her home location. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've sometimes had in skirmishes, for example, especially in either Thongohad or Battle of the 21st Hall, where an NPC, actually I think the brothers do it also in Fort Bruin on occasion, because at the end of every battle they will go back to the reset point, and sometimes their reset point they decided is not there, but there.
Well,
Sometimes-
and go ahead.
Like for example, the most reliable case that I know of is in the Battle of the 21st Hall, where Wheelie will, if we have the thief as one of the encounters, if the thief dies and the particular and you have nothing else going on at the time, then he will stop cold and reset that and turn that into his reset location, which can sometimes be very annoying.
That would be pretty annoying. I noticed with the raid, during the after raid when we were picking up pages and leading, I was helping. I was leading people to pages. That was strange, but fun. And I could not have done it without the awesome help of Sundarina. Just for the record, she's got an awesome lore master with an awesome bear. And I couldn't have done it without the cooperation of the whole group who was willing to tank and heal and DPS the targets that I called. But,
Yeah.
no, it was, we noticed, that wherever we wiped, or wherever we had pulled the mobs to when the person pulling them died, was their new reset location. So there were a couple of runs that we did where we had somebody pull all the mobs away from the page so people could get it, and then running back past that area, we found those mobs in the hallway, and we had to take care of them to get through because they were all hanging out in the hallway where everyone had died after getting the page. And nowhere near the room where they had started. And there were, I think we only did that once before I figured out what was going on, and I convinced them to stay out of the ways of places we wanted to go when pulling them off. But yeah, it was their mobs, like all the mobs were definitely changing their reset location as we were going, which made for some frustration. Even though we didn't, well, at that point, if we had had anti-exploited mobs, it would have just been nice to get them out of the way. But none of them had the grace to climb a wall and be anti-exploited at the top. They were all waiting for us in the middle of the hallway, as we're trying to charge through with, I don't remember if we had 11 players or 10 at that point. By the time we got done, we had 8. And it was getting a little bit dicey when things like that happened. So, but yeah, it was, I think that's I don't know if it's a bug or a feature of that raid, but something to definitely be aware of.
We currently have 20 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or you may be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. And if you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlliance, LOTRO Players @LOTROPlayers, Ariandes @Ariandes, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda @Sanswinda, and Terry Adwin @TerryAdwin. The Players Alliance has 4 shows. Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. Every other Thursday at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. And on the first Tuesday of each month at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Chromatic Bits. You can our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Piney Mules reminding you to raid responsibly.